Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket. Saul Marquez here. We have an exciting guest with us today. She's no stranger to the podcast. She's been on the podcast before, although it's been way too long. Sabrina Runbeck is joining us. She is a fractional COO, CSO, co-founder of PulsePoint Path, venture partner at MedStarter Capital, chief strategist of health board advisors. Man, this lady has done so many things. She's an international best-selling author, TEDx speaker. She used to be a PA, global top 2.5 podcast host. Man, it's so great to have her here. Sabrina, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Sal. And we were just talking about we're conference buddies, right? We've been on each other's, been on the Outcome Rockets years and years ago, and been seeing each other a lot more every year when we go to these major healthcare events and seem to be bumping into each other's circle. And it's excited to be in the space. I think for the past few years, I'm always thinking business has to be done a little bit differently, right? Let's get away from that referral model because that's so passive. We need to get into that collaborative mindset of what can we co-create? Like Sal, you said so many times, this year is all about doing execution. So where do we need to double down our effort, triple down on the effort that is going to give us the highest ROI and not get drowned by too many options?
That's great, Sabrina. I agree. It is the year of execution. To ground our listeners on who you work with, help us understand who they are. What types of organizations, what types of people?
Yeah, I would say I'm a big super matchmaker of 3 different areas. We work with the startups that already have the minimal viable product. They are early user phase, and they're typically already graduated from the incubator accelerator. Now they're we kind of exhausted a bunch of these resources. What's next, right?
So they're pre-A series, they've got seed and pre-A series?
Yeah. So early founding stage. And then they start thinking, hey, I need a bigger capital to go to the next phase. Or we actually needed to have the right people into the organization. So we're not feeling like we are already making a lot of movement, but still we're not converting. So where's the check? Where's the contract? I had Sal just on my podcast earlier. We kind of dive a little bit deeper in those conversations. So that means they needed the good people. And I'm always about collaborative business model means that we need to hold people accountable for what's next. So then we build a whole ecosystem of experts, especially clinicians, who want to go beyond the bedside to create legacy. And they are at a place, they're establishing a career. They wanted to start thinking about what advisory, executive, or investor roles they can take on because they're not okay with waiting for the big VCs, hospital, ventures to put innovation. They have ideas themselves where they wanted to be joining a company that already very much connected to their goals so they can push things much faster. Because at the end of the day, guess what? All of us who are clinicians, we tap out in our career very fast. And you can only see so many patients, do so many surgeries and wait things around. Or even you can be very fast. You have to wait for the rest of the team to catch up, right? So how do we do things in that one-to-many effect, which means leveraging these technology companies' resources, right? And we don't also want it to be drowned by having conversation with too many of these companies because it can get really overwhelming. I think then our third partner are all the investors because we become their venture scale as well as their growth arm because we all know seeing deal flow, we see plenty. Now the challenge is we don't get enough clarity on what the true potential is. Can they have the right people to execute? Do they have a good go-to-market plan that even if it's written, right? Like Sal even mentioned it before, the statistic of barely 28% of people have any marketing resource or planned. So it's crazy when I'm judging this pitch competition, I'm asking, so tell me about your client acquisition journey. They're not telling about a journey. They start talking to me about channel. They're like, we're going to payers and employers and health system. I'm like, that's not an acquisition journey. You're just trying to tell me who you're trying to even engage with, right? So somehow these things are completely missed. So for us, we're in that intersect of matchmaking the right startup with the right experts and the right investors. Then they can work more collaboratively. And we sit on top as what I always say, like, it's almost like we're the PET scan, right? Like, those whole body head to toe PET scan, it will show where things light up because they shouldn't be, right? We're the people who deploy a really quickly integrated advisor board of experts to see what's not working and what's actually working. So now how do you need to double, triple down in the things that works for you based on the leadership and human capacity that you have. We're not constantly going for the next shiny thing, the next tactic, thinking it will just fix things, but then you realize you have no money or people to even execute.
Love it. Well said. So early funding stage companies, physicians or clinicians seeking to shift into more kind of scalable careers, and then the venture fundraisers and you kind of form this trifecta. And your career before you made the shift, you were a PA. It was cardiology, or what was it?
Cardiothoracic surgery. So your meat and potato of your bypass valve, aneurysm. Wow. I even done transplant, thoracic lung cancers. When it's a cold season, you get a lot of people coming in with bad lung abscess infection. There are the case that I will go into the ER. People say, yeah, you got a consult. I walk in, all right? I can smell the bad infection. That's how bad some of the cases are.
Really? You could smell it? Like you could smell it?
I can smell it. And then when I cut into it, and then everybody else smelled it. I'm like, maybe my sense is a little too hypered.
Wow. Well, what I love about your experience, Sabrina, is that you wore the shoes for so long. Like you were the clinician for so long. And, that's something that you can't teach. There's an empathy there that you can't teach. So whether you're a clinician seeking to build your own business, whether you have a business that's seeking to influence clinicians, like it's really important to have advisors and partners that know those intricacies. And Sabrina is definitely one of them. Sabrina, what's one thing that you're finding is top of mind for you that you want to let people know about? I know one thing that you mentioned is the Impact Awards. So I want to make sure we give you a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, every season, every year, we like to celebrate. And we believe third-party validation is one of the best ways for anyone to stand out as a domain expert. And a lot of these startups, I think, we just because drowned by noise, right? Everyone's publishing, everyone's chasing the clicks and the likes and whatnot. But how do you actually show up? Because even just a few different high click of views on TikTok social media doesn't mean you are a domain expert. So those needed to have multiple people like myself, Val, and all of these people connected to say, hey, we look at a company, we look at their video, we look at their website, we look at their pitch deck. Oh, this actually makes sense. This is how they're showing up through this award process, that they're on time, they're tentative, they follow through. That's how we actually back you. And this whole system is actually free. So for people, just go to healthtecimpactaward.com to submit your nomination. You just have to tell us, how are you making impact right now? And we will accept the applicants, even you just have a minimum viable product, because it's not so much about you have to already made impact over billions of patients, right? They are plenty there, but you also have to recognize what you already been doing, what you're demonstrating today. And we encourage everyone from these 6 categories. Most all our partners, whether from the venture side, academic side, or hospital side, interested are, of course, digital health, right? The big topics. And under digital health have so many AI solutions, interoperability. And then is medical device, whether it's a simple wearable, where you're actually creating even a lightweight device, wheelchair, and whatnot product to help people to do your rehab. And then you have the diagnostic. We've seen plenty of these new diagnostic tools, whether it's actually lab-based or scanning tools that you can actually, from early detection standpoint, doesn't have to go through all the FDA yet, right? Just get you early users. But even knowing that is incredible. And then you have, of course, our biotech, right? Many of the new drug discoveries, the fun thing that could really help us maybe live longer, reduce the disease, and maybe the ADHDs and the Alzheimer. We start seeing a lot of these pediatric and very aging population solutions. And then our two, I would say, very close to heart. My background is in neuroscience, and a lot of my ecosystem are about mental health and well-being, both from prevention side and disease side, as well as women's health, big topic, right? Not only from the movements and women advocacy for the past few years, but also I work for the VA system for more than 5 years when I was working full time. And you start seeing more of the veterans supporting women and having more solutions toward them. So these are our 6 major topics.
Love it. Very impactful topics, Sabrina. So what's the link again? We'll include it in the show notes, but what is it again? Where can people go apply?
Health Tech Impact Award. Health Tech Impact Award without the S, just singular.
Award.com?
.com.
Awesome, guys. So make sure you check that out. And if you're a physician looking to break out of the hamster wheel of what you do, Sabrina's been there. She's done that. And I feel like one of the best ways you can create success is not to reinvent the wheel, but work with somebody that has been there and done that successfully. Sabrina, I always enjoy chatting with you. If you wanted to leave folks with a closing thought, what do you want to leave them with, and where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm actually managing my inbox myself. So feel free to message to me there. And I'm all about creating ecosystems that really supportive of us and not just feel like one event, one connection, one networking, right? Because we care about the eliteness of the right people together. That's what we can build faster. That also means we have to understand ourselves so much. So when I burned out, I think the shift for me to start launching podcasts, do TEDx, and be in this arena of helping other people transition and understand what venture can do is that I done so much work. And then this is something that we build is this 5-dimensional way of seeing ourselves and how people support us, not just to do all these Myers-Briggs skill training to be like, oh, then now I know me. It's actually about how do we understand our physical body of communication perception, our spiritual side of highest purpose and value, our psychological side of what sabotages us versus what accelerates us, and how do we pivot out of that? And then what skill set of am I playing in the right seat? Right? It carries my skill set to the best. If I'm a true strategist, I'm a true visionary, I'm a true promoter, I'm a true doer. Like, am I not forced to do things that I do want to do, right? Who's in our circle to pick that up? And then lastly, how do we create that true resilience of yourself, myself, the whole entire team, and the company? So then you can truly have the space to be able to scale. You have the health to have the sustainability, and you have the lightness to actually be likable, sellable, and then be able to convert something that's into a tangible check, contract, impact. At the end of the day, it's all about that quality. So encourage you to connect with me on LinkedIn or jump on one of our masterminds. And we host that virtually to give people the flexibility. And that's just luma.com/health board advisors, because you guys are all already have the expertise to advise. And we see you as the true advisors in healthcare.
That's amazing. Wow. Folks, there you have it. If you want more of these frameworks, you can go straight to the source. We'll leave everything in the show notes for you to connect with Sabrina and her team. So I guess if you want those checks, if you want impact, Sabrina's your gal. So reach out to her. Thank you all for tuning in. And Sabrina, thanks for being with us.